GL300S is finally making its UK debut here at ROMI UK, and we've got our very own Paul Jones to review the machine. So Paul, what do you think of this new machine?
I did see it at EMO the first time, but this is, like you say, it's the GL300. It does look a big machine, and it is a big machine. It's a heavy machine. It's over 5 tons in weight. The sort of the predecessor to this, or the previous lathe, was the GL280, but that was a much smaller machine. In fact, this is almost like double in size. However, the capacity is only a little bit more, which means they put a real focus on the weight of the machine to make it bigger, heavier. A lot of machine tool manufacturers are going down this path to try and accommodate, very, very difficult machining operations. And this particular model, if we move and the camera can go in, is equipped here with a sub-spindle. Now, this is the first time ROMI have had a turning centre with a sub-spindle. First time ROMI have had a turning centre with a Y-axis. So this is new to them. This is new ground. But the interesting point here is that this machine was actually running, or this model was running in their factory in Brazil for 2 years before they actually launched it in the market alongside their GL280. So it's proven and it's tested. It is a fantastic machine. It is available here to see at ROMI, not just today, but any day that you want to come along. I like also the turret on this machine. It's a large turret. The driven tools on here, it's got around about 7 kilowatts of power. I think the weight, 5 tons, is a big aspect. The Y-axis is plus or minus 50 mil on here. But what is also interesting, and we're going to see it running in a minute, we're going to press the cycle start button, so you are going to see this demo in action. What is interesting is if you go up to the GL350, the next machine up, you get a 75 mil plus or minus Y-axis, so even more capacity for your sort of off-centre work.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I think something to state as well, Paul, the range of these GLs from the 350 to the 300, they're all from the same casting that are manufactured in Brazil, and they've really kind of mastered this modular aspect of the machine tool, and as well the new software, the new programming system here, touchscreen, looks really fancy.
The 32i, they were one of the first to have this particular control on here, and we had a bit of a play with it earlier and touched a few of the soft keys and the screen, but we don't want to have any accidents when we're doing the demo, so I think we'll leave that well alone. Back inside the machine here, if you look at the slant bed, the way the swarf falls down, the slant here, and the swarf conveyor at the bottom of the machine. Another area to the back of the machine here is the swarf conveyor that comes with it, which actually, even though the machine's quite big, the actual depth of the swarf, or the width of the swarf conveyor, is quite slim because the angle gradient is quite high as well for the evacuation. And what we're going to cut on here now is a piece of EN24T. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the door. Nice auto door. I love the auto door. It means you don't get to build your muscles up as much though. And then I'm going to press cycle start, and we're going to see the machine now in action.
I think also with the auto door, Paul, it's great for when you're looking to automate the machine. I think that they've done a fantastic job considering this is their first twin spindle, Y-axis, milling functionality CNC lathe.
But it's a market they needed to get into. I mean, you just have to be in this. As a machine tool manufacturer, ROMI, all their machines are built in Brazil. They have their own foundry. 60% of the output of the company is what we're seeing here, is machine tools. The other 40% is made up of manufacturing or producing castings for industry and injection molding machines. But not having a machine that has the capabilities of the, or multi-axis capability does put you at a disadvantage when engineers are looking more at automated one-hit style machining, and it's great to see this cut and dry as well.
With your experience in machine tools, Paul, do you believe that this will be a real success in the UK market?
I think there's a lot of competition. I mean, that's one thing to say to start with. They're going into a marketplace here where they're going to be faced with, a dozen other competitors when they're looking to pitch for the order. Where's it going to succeed? I think it will be popular amongst companies that are really unsure of how, how heavy they want a machine, what work they're going to be doing week in, week out. If they're just cutting small parts of aluminium, then they might look at the weight of this and think it could be an overkill, or the power of this, it could be an overkill. But how often is it nowadays in an engineering market where parts change? reliance on your customer from day-to-day changes. You get demands for different types of work. Then you need a machine that's got maybe as much power as you can have, as much capacity as you can have, and the reliability to stand the test of time.
I mean, you certainly get bang for buck in regards to price. You need to contact ROMI Machine Tools UK for a price on this machine, and we would strongly recommend you do that once you've watched this video if you're in the market for a CNC lathe, twin spindle, big turret with milling functionality.
And I think in a minute we're going to see, once this demonstration is finished, we're going to actually see the sub-spindle come into play. Now the sub-spindle on this machine is a sub-spindle. It looks like it's a smaller spindle, so it's potentially not as capable as the main spindle. Here we go. We've got some of the driven tools in action now. I think with the 7 kilowatts of power on this, again, as you see it cut, I know the cut's not massive, but it is cutting dry.
And EN24T, it's not a soft material.
It's not a soft material. It is a big turret as well, though, isn't it? It's a chunky old turret.
It is indeed. I think that the build of the machine really impresses me, and we can't forget but to mention it's a very good-looking machine, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, well, you had to pick that one out, yeah. No, it is a good-looking machine. I'm not sure that's going to be at the top of everyone's priority. They're probably going to be more interested in the practicality of it, the ergonomics of it, and everything that we see here. It's cutting dynamics, but it's not a disadvantage, is it? It's a pretty tasty-looking machine. Tool setting arm in here, plenty of light. What I think you'll notice as well from the camera action here, or from where the camera is here, the actual centre point of the turned part is very close to the door. Now some might think that might restrict the swing of the machine, but others might think it's easier to load, it's easier to get in and take the parts out, which of course is more practical. Nice U-drilling operation happening here now too.
I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think you've got a 10-inch chuck. You're probably looking to load billets of that nature inside the machine, and also for robot loading as well. The accessibility to the main and second spindle is a lot more accessible.
We've got a 4,000 RPM spindle actually. This is just looking at the detail on here. It's a 4,000 RPM spindle. I believe that's on the main. You've got a 12-station turret on here. The turret is a BMT. The Y-axis on here is plus or minus 50 mil. And as I stressed earlier, if you go for the next model up, you start to get Y-axes of up to 75 millimeters. I mentioned that swing there, G. I'm just looking on the spec sheet here. The swing is actually 530 mil. So it's not bad, is it? Still, when you look at how close the chuck is to the window.
You've still got a lot of capacity in there, and also like to mention, you can also see the end mill that will be servicing the second spindle, so milling functionality for both spindles. We mentioned that the castings are manufactured at ROMI in Brazil, but pretty much nearly every single component that you can see there is manufactured by ROMI, bar the turret and the chucks.
And it is a popular machine in the UK. I think over the last 5 years we've seen a lot of these machines going out into the UK market. Here in comes the sub-spindle. You see the sub-spindle picking up the part there. If you went back 25, 30 years, longer than that, 40 years ago, when you were doing your apprenticeship, then you would have, seeing machines like this in action, you'd just think how things have moved on. The automation element, the one-hit machining element. I could have saved so much time in when I was on the shop floor having machines like this. It is a really good demonstration. So you can come here and see this machine, you can see this demo, and more machines here at ROMI cutting hard steels dry here in Rugby. We're here today at their machining event, but this showroom's open all the time, isn't it? So all see these machines, more of them on MTD CNC.